Hey everybody, what's up? This is Ari in Beijing, back at you with another video today. Today we're talking about Glossika, because a lot of people have been asking me about Glossika, and this review is not sponsored or anything like that. I just really like the product and, want to help out all the people who've been asking about it, because it is somewhat of a complicated language learning product, and I want to help explain it a little bit. Let's dive in and show you exactly how this system kind of works. So, without further ado, first of all, what is Glossika? Well, if we go over here to our main little Glossika page, essentially what Glossika is it's basically a method for learning languages. In my opinion, it's definitely one of the better ones. It's somewhat expensive, but what you get for purchasing Glossika is really worth it. Again, it's a little bit complicated the first time you use it, but it's really pretty sweet. So one of the cool things about Glossika is they have courses for every kind of language. Got Italian, Japanese, Latvian, Polish. I mean, it's really pretty impressive. The other cool thing about Glossika is that they have a lot of Chinese languages / dialects. So they have Hakka, Cantonese, Mandarin, Taiwanese, Hokkien, like a whole bunch of stuff, and a lot of the stuff you just absolutely can't find anywhere else, right? Like Wenjonese, Taiwanese, Hokkien, Hakka. Like this stuff is just, if you want to learn these languages, Glossika is your only option. I'm going to show you how to use it and how you can get the most value out of it, because again, it is somewhat of a complicated product. But honestly, once you get the grasp of it, it's a little intimidating at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad. Okay. Also, by the way, if you, again, this review isn't like sponsored or anything like that, but if you would like to help me out, you can, and you think this product would be valuable to you, you can purchase it through my affiliate link in the description. Okay, so I've used the product before with Cantonese, so I'm going to show you how it works with Cantonese, but honestly, it's basically the same system for every language, right? So when you actually buy the product, I mean, it really depends on which language you buy, but it's usually around like $60 to maybe a little over $100, but you get a lot for it, right? So what you'll get when you come over here to your account page is you get a bunch of files you can download, right? I have them on my desktop, so I'll show you in a little bit. You get this initial kind of booklet of sentences, and you also get these GMS things and these GSR things. Okay, so GMS, GSR, what is that? Let me show you. Okay, so let's see. Let's start with the ebook, right? So here's what Glossika is in a nutshell. Glossika is sentences, right? At its most basic, Glossika is sentences. It's a lot of sentences. It's what you're getting when you buy this Glossika is you're getting 3,000 sentences. Okay, so let's open our first Glossika PDF here. You can see it's split into 3 books. Each book has 1,000 sentences. There's a little bit in the beginning of the book. There's an intro to the language, right? A very basic kind of intro, some basic vocabulary, an introduction of how to use Glossika, etc. But then the majority of the book is comprised of sentences, right? So you have the English version of the sentence, you have the Cantonese version of the sentence and characters, and then we have transliterations and a bunch of different transliteration systems, right? And again, for every language, you're going to have the language in English, how it's written in its native language, and then the pronunciation in a variety of different transliteration systems. But that's the thing is, this is really more of a reference. The actual way that you use Glossika is through the audio, right? So the cool thing about Glossika is not only do you get these sentences, but you also actually get the audio, right? So let's go into GMS and GSR. Now, the important thing to keep in mind here is that there's really 2 ways to use Glossika, right? So the first way is GSR, which is General Spaced Repetition, I believe. And essentially, this is split into, they take the first 1,000 sentences, and split them into 100 or so files, right? Each file, there's the English, followed by the the native language, the audio, and based on a spaced repetition principle, right? So with the GSR, if you're doing the GSR style, all you need to do is you spend like 20 minutes a day, and essentially, each day you simply listen to the file, right? And you kind of repeat along with the audio, right? So, and in a spaced repetition kind of way, they bring back they bring back stuff that you've reviewed previously each day, right? So the idea here is just to kind of introduce you to these sentences in a lightweight way every day, and it takes you a few months to complete, but it's kind of like a relaxed way to sort of progress through the course. And all you need to do is just each day just listen to the file and speak along with it. It'll give you the English and then the audio in the target language, the language that you're trying to study, right? So it's a great way to get audio exposure to the language. Now, if you want to study more intensively and you have more time to devote to studying language, you're going to want to use GMS. So Glossika mass sentences, it's a little bit more complicated of a structure, but don't worry, it's not super hard once you get the basics. So Glossika mass sentences, they're split into 3 groups, A, B, and C. Okay? So what you can do with this is you basically see a little description of the schedule right here. You can pick however many sentences you want to do, depending on how intensively you want to study, right? 20, 50, 100 sentences per day. Again, Glossika is all based on learning sentences, right? So you can, the kind of the first step is you take these A files, and the A files, you can see right here, you have English, and then the target language spoken twice, right? So what you do in the first step is you just listen to the English, and then you basically repeat the A files. You repeat the native language twice, right? Or I think just once. You listen to it first, and the second time you actually repeat and speak along with the speaker, right? So that's just pure listening. The second step, when you're studying these sentences, is dictation, right? So you listen to the C files. These C files just contain the target language, right? And then you write them down. You write them down in the script of your choice. That can be the target language, the actual, writing, or you can write it out in the romanization as well. And then, check your answers afterwards and, see how well you did. Okay? That's actually a really important step because it really kind of trains you to see how good you are at recognizing the audio that you've heard, right? How you listened. And then so the third step is actually recording. So once you've written down all of the words just from hearing them, you listen to the B files, which is the English, and there's a pause, and in that pause you actually speak it, right? You speak it and you record yourself speaking it, and then the target sentence plays. And the important thing there, in my experience from doing Glossika, is that I think it's really important to listen to yourself speaking. So the cool thing is once you've recorded yourself, you can play it back, and you can see how your audio, how what you said compares to how the native speaker said it in Glossika, right? So really good kind of like feedback mechanism. And then finally, you can kind of do this training step. I didn't really always do this, but it's sort of optional in my opinion. But you can just you listen to the B sound files. You listen to the English, and then you try and translate it into the target language, right? And then you'll hear the target language again. So that sort of tries to train you to see how well you can produce the sentences given this little bit of English, right? How can you produce in addition to just being able to recall, right? So it really trains your listening, it trains your recall, it trains your speaking, and kind of like a lot of good stuff there. Now you might be asking yourself, with the Glossika, mass sentences method, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of spaced repetition there, like unlike the Glossika spaced repetition. Like how do I actually do the spaced repetition? Well, once you actually get the product, you'll see there's this Glossika schedule guide, and so that essentially what that will give you is the schedule, right? So they give you a recommended schedule of when you should study the mass sentences C, mass sentences B, and they sort of tell you which exercises to follow along with, depending on how much time you have, right? If you want to spend, 13 weeks. If you want to spend 6 weeks, they have 8 weeks. They have schedules for each of these for however much time you have per day to study, really broken down by the day of the week, and so you can just sort of follow along with Glossika's suggested guide, which is a really useful feature. And I would really recommend. I think one of the key things with Glossika that some people don't quite get is that it's really important to be very rigorous about it. You have to be disciplined. You have to really sort of follow it every day to see results. But in my experience, I've done this with Cantonese. I did it for maybe a month or two, and after doing it, I was much more comfortable with the sounds and casual conversation in Cantonese than I was before. One thing about Glossika is that I don't think that it is by itself a totally complete way to learn languages. I think it's a really, really valuable and very useful product, but I do think that if you are using Glossika, you need to supplement it with speaking. That said, I think that Glossika plus speaking practice is, you can get pretty far in a language with just Glossika and speaking. I think that's really all that you need, in the early and the intermediate stages to get, pretty good and close to fluent in a language with just these two things, speaking and Glossika. Because Glossika really trains your listening, it trains you on pronunciation, really gets you familiar with the sounds of the language, etc. So that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much, everybody, for continuing to watch my videos, and please leave a comment about what you enjoyed about this video, and definitely, if this sounds like a product that you are interested in, please consider supporting me out by purchasing it through my affiliate link in the description. Let's see, what else? I guess that's it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't for more stuff about language learning and polyglot kind of related things. I do interviews in this channel all the time, so have a few more of those coming up in the future. And thanks everyone for watching, and see you next week. Have a good one.